I'm also the president of the Roundtable on Black History Month. So for me, that the NCC would have a part, a whole floor with the documentation center on the contributions and all the things related to the blacks in Montreal, in Quebec, and even in Canada. To me, this is where I want to go, and I will. I think if it's not done there, we need to do it elsewhere. But now we have a place that is so significant where we could have so many 50, 60, 70,000 people coming through the doors throughout the year from all over the world. We could be touristic, could have a tourist attraction. So for the youth, I believe there's another component because everything is by square feet. Hey, you need to operationalize the place. You need to sell space, and they need to heat it up and everything. So you need people that are well. You need businesses, whether even community organization, that are that can sustain it by themselves. And it wouldn't be so too cheap, especially a building of that, like high ceilings and so on. But the thing is, where I'm going with this is I'm saying the NCC is a threat to other organizations in Little Burgundy. Meaning, that's one of the reasons also why nothing is moving. Now I'm really getting down to where I want to go. Because it's a threat in the way that if the NCC reopens, the NCC would have enough space to have maybe even youth emotion.
One of the things, there's going to be places, we hope to have places for them to do such like what you're doing right now, media. A lot of young people are into singing and that kind of thing, but a place that they could be able to do their own recordings and things of that nature. We hope to have other organizations in there to help round it out, so to speak. The center can only do so much in, say, like in the matter of information, but with other courses, like let's say there's going to be a banquet hall there, because one of the things that we don't have in our community is a place to go and socialize. So there's going to be a small banquet hall with they call it a semi-professional kitchen. So we can give cooking courses there. Kids can, just come and be themselves, let's say, We're looking for people that are interested in starting such programs or have such programs. And the space is quite limited now, especially now the properties are being redeveloped. As you can see, it's been gentrified quite a bit. But we would still, so with the plan to have the center open, it would just sort of add to it, instead of bringing the busloads to come and look like, oh gee, look at that terrible building, it will be, look at, this is the historic part of the black community, so. And I think kids would gain some pride in that, a sense of pride in that.
Hopefully, if the NCC is revived, that's what's going to happen, is that the teaching coming from the NCC will give them much more structure and point them in the right direction, because they're going to be able to incorporate that in their lives and be able to move forward a little bit more strongly and comfortably, sure, about who they are and where they fit.
I think everybody needs an Afrocentric education. I mean, you're much younger than I am. How much did you learn about black history in school? And I mean, I learned just zero. So the last thing I remember in grade 4 was a story of Bunga, and believe me, there was a textbook, Bunga, who got his curly hair because there was a flyer that came over and singed his hair. I would love to get my hand on one of those geography books again. But so, and I mean, it hasn't, I wouldn't say it's improved all that much. You still have to go doing, your own sort of research to find out. I mean, I guess there's a cursory sort of education, like there's now a black president, but in all fairness, I must say that in a high school book in Ontario, the Colored Women's Club is mentioned with a picture. So we have progressed, but I still don't think enough.
Well, you never saw me without a book when I was young, or rarely saw me without a book. I mean, these books here reflecting what the organization is about. So we're very comprehensive. We have what is called a holistic program here. And so we're looking at the whole child, what affects all of their lives. So we have things like health and employment, stuff on community and history, of course, which is really important. But justice, we're very much interested in the issue of racial profiling and issues that affect children's lives today, because when they come through the door with their parents or they come alone and they tell us stories, we know that this is what's really what presents a real challenge for them to overcome. Learning one's history, as I said before, is about really understanding where you fit, and it's giving you that assurance that you can face those kinds of issues, and that you have a right to the system, to appropriate the system on your behalf. And if you always feel like you're foreign, or you always feel like you're other, that's a very difficult sense of that self-confidence is very difficult to come by. So I would think for the kids today, it's just as important to learn as I did about who they are, where they came from, the antecedents of their culture that they have now, because blacks are not a homogeneous population in Montreal. They're from many, many different countries. They bring a richness of culture and language. Many are trilingual, not just unilingual or bilingual. So they enrich the city.
The NCC needs to know how they're going to network. And having a documentation center is great, because the people from elsewhere will come to research. Schools will send their classes down at the NCC for visit, for research, for, you know, to educate, to broaden their mind. I think that's where we need to go. And also to look at what immediately, with who can we agree that will still stay within our mission, or at least comply to our mission of respect and of openness, inclusion, and everything. That can be part, and that will pay. That's crucial for the NCC's opening, and for sustainability over the next 20 years. Because make no mistake, money attracts money. If you can show the government, everyone, the corporate world, that you're a viable, that you're moving to, there's a movement of people moving together and being serious and being diligent with their money and how they spend it and everything. Well, right there and then, it'll attract money. It'll attract investors. People will recognize us. We need to start, and we haven't done that for many, many reasons. I'm not one to blame only us, and or to blame solely us. But we need to do it. I will start to blame myself but I'm mentioning it because I want others to come on board and see. We have le réseau here, Regroupement d'économie sociale du Sud-Ouest. They could help us. There's it's feasible. It's feasible. $52. I give more than $1 a week to homeless people on the street. And so many of us do give more than $1 a week. $52 a year is nothing. But when you put 60,000 people, I don't know why I have that magic number, but that's my target. You start to move things, man. And my first project is those two projects right down here.